This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gill Alexander on VSiN.
Hour number 2 of a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, Sirius XM Channel 158. Gill Alexander, Kelley, Bydlon.
Sup?
In the hizzy. Right here from Circle Resort Casino, downtown Las Vegas. Who's this guy, by the way, Kelley? Matt Brown and I were trying to figure this out last week. So, ESPN has new faces that they've just thrown at us.
Wait,
because of
Matt Brown knew who that was.
Oh, he didn't. He had no idea.
It's Kevin Clark, right? Kevin Clark.
Okay, there we go. Just curious. All right.
I don't know, am I botching his name?
I don't know. Not to send everybody there, but I was just wondering because he's everywhere.
He's really good. I feel really bad at botching his name.
No.
He does a great podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Kevin Clark.
Right,
Kevin Clark.
We get sweet speed of the book. Jason Stark, welcome back. Kelley, great to have the band back together. But you and Gill being back in the studio means football is very close. He said both you and Gill in the studio means football is very close. Yes, indeed it is.
That's right. It's been a long summer with each of us in different locations and vacations. You in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Thanks to Matt Brown, by the way, for last week.
Thank you to Matt Brown.
Filling in for me a couple days.
Monday and Wednesday. Yeah.
I heard that was fun.
Oh, it's great fun. It was like riding a bike.
That's right. And I thought I heard that from somebody, and I thought about it. I was like, Matt and I have done a bunch together because he fills in often when you're out.
I think that's the first time Matt and I have done since Primetime Action, probably. Yeah.
I feel like he'd probably been on set with us once or twice.
Well, he's been with both of us.
Right, yeah. But just you two, yeah.
Jason H11, is Kelley still single?
Yeah.
Following your Nashville trip?
Yeah, of course. I went to Nashville and came home. We came home with a long-distance relationship. No.
Just what you want.
Whatever the tweet was of the number of times I fall in love, though, that overhit. Yeah. The overhit in one night with an Irish bachelorette party, Gil. I'll tell you, I'm just going to leave it at that. Actually, you wouldn't have liked it. There's a lot of good-looking blondes running around, including myself.
It's not my jam.
It's not your style.
David Donnelly. Hi, Gil. Enjoy your show. I loved your Iga pick to win the U.S. Open. Took her at 8-1. Good for you. Is there any other woman down the board that you would like? Yeah, I just mentioned Amanda Anisimova. 20-1 would be the longest shot I would consider. Tronsky, John Osher. I love when people do this kind of thing. Because, dear Gil, I love Alcaraz as much as anybody, but no one in the modern era has ever won the U.S. Open without having played either Cincinnati or the Canadian Open as a warm-up. Alcaraz is not winning this. Huge opportunity for Shelton Fritz Feast, wide open. Well, I agree with that last part. But I love when people, you must get this in golf a lot. I love when people, make a grandstand about that one person is not winning this. And you're like, hey, congratulations, you were correct. Somebody else from a 80-player pool won.
There you go. Well, 144 golfers out there every week, and every time we don't pick the one guy who wins it, we all suck, and then it's Scotty Scheffler who wins it or something. How did you not see that coming?
Hey, Dukes of the PNW. Hey, Gil, just want to give a shout-out to all the White Sox backers on over 66.5, which hit over the weekend. Don't sleep on them. Joe Pita came on the show, gave that out earlier this year, right before the season started. Shout out to Joe Pita. Shout out to everybody else who had it. And Shrek, are we sure Rybakina is going to play? Yeah, that calf/Achilles looks scary. I think he meant scary. When she quit versus Iga. Yeah, 4-1 Iga, and then Rybakina just couldn't go. All of a sudden, she bent down for a little short chip volley, and her leg was shot. In one, can't risk it after that. So
that's scray.
We're not sure. That is scray.
That's scray.
Hey, can we pour out a 40 for Nick Chubb?
Yeah.
Nick Chubb retiring after 8 seasons in the National Football League. Mama, don't let your boys grow up to be running backs. It's tough. It's a tough gig these days.
Or do it right now, so they get paid. Because who knows how we're gonna think about this position 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Right, Jeremiah Love is the highest paid running back in the NFL, right? He is the highest paid running back in the NFL.
Jeez. Seahawks, by the way, shut down Jadarian Price for the rest of the preseason, having seen enough. And questions about health in their running back room. Speaking of running backs, their first-round draft pick, Jadarian Price.
I'm an offensive rookie of the year ticket holder on Jadarian Price, Gil. I saw that news.
You like that news?
Like that news. I know part of it is health issues with the rest. That's not a good thing for the Seahawks. The fact that they played all of one preseason game before they shut him down and saw a couple weeks of him in camp, and he's not playing again. We cannot get him hurt. That's huge.
Let's take a look at that, by the way. Offensive Rookie of the Year, where Jeremiah Love is the short shot at 5-1. Carnell Tate, Jadarian Price, and Fernando Mendoza, all at 6-1. Everybody else, starting with Deshaun's dribbling of the Niners. Deshaun's dribbling still kind of ticks down every week, down to 11-1.
Well, yeah, every other day there's a new Niner that gets hurt, so he has to.
And he continues to play well in the preseason. God, Niners. Substation. Jordan Tyson going the other direction with his injury, 40-1. You have Jadarian Price. That's the one you hold here.
I have Price. I bet him at 9-1. Bet him pretty much at open. I guess he'd probably still be the guy I'd go with here, Kill. This is tough, though. I'm interested to see how it plays out. You and I have obviously talked about this a lot since the draft. I'm not interested in going with Jeremiah Love at 5-1, running back on a really bad team. There's a lot of different ways I think that can go south. Carnell Tate, look, absolutely could maybe be live if you're a big believer in the Titans. I'm just not quite there yet on Cam Ward and this team. And then Mendoza, like you and I keep saying it, right? I'm not saying don't bet Fernando Mendoza. What I'm saying is there's no reason to bet Fernando Mendoza now. I think there's a chance that he is live in this race, absolutely, as being kind of the quarterback here in this conversation. But there's no rush to make this bet until you know he's going to start games.
Jordan Tyson, by the way, I alluded to, he's down to 40-1. I'm surprised he's not even longer. He's supposed to miss 2 months.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's a you can't bet situation.
It's the same thing I said about Mendoza, I guess, goes for Carson Beck. I don't even think Carson Beck's completely out of this, but you got to know he's starting games first.
Tyson, by the way, pulling the right hamstring in practice against the Jaguars. Practice session, joint practice.
I know if Danny Higgins was out here, he'd be saying, watch out for that Jacoby Lane fellow over at Baltimore.
Yeah, he'd say that.
Same sort of thing as what's going on in San Francisco, running out of just healthy and quality bodies to throw the ball to.
Let's do a heat check on some of these other awards in the National Football League here. As again, we have one more preseason game in front of us. Then we have that dreaded week off.
Yeah.
Ever since they went from 4 preseason games to 3, there is that awkward week in between. And again, we will try to do the Megapod for week 1 earlier in the week. Usually we do them on Thursdays, but for week 1, we'll try to do them earlier. Regular season MVP. Josh Allen, Kelly's favorite, 6-1. Lamar, 8-1. Joe Burrow, plus 850. And then you see everybody else double digits, starting with Herbert, Mahomes, and May, all at 10-1.
Yeah, nothing for me here. Man, this has been pretty consistent since this opened up. I don't know about you, Gil. If I had to make a bet, it'd probably be Burrow. Just aim for the high-end outcome of what could happen with Cincinnati. But, man, there are too many guys here that I think are absolutely in this race. It could be for the majority of the season.
It's a tough offseason for me because all of my big conviction has already, in a lot of cases, been torpedoed already. So, I would have said a month ago, and I think I did say, Brock Purdy, 18-1.
Yep.
And
actually, when you were saying it, he was 22-25-1.
Yeah, I can't really recommend it anymore with all the injuries. You just can't do it.
No, you can't.
And I think this list is generally right. I agree with you. Just Joe Burrow would be my shot.
The other ones, I've brought him up before. You could have convinced me with a Caleb Williams this offseason, but not at 12-1.
Nope.
If he was 20, yeah, sure.
I am going to bet Caleb Williams the way that I played the draft. Sorry, futures draft, which is I'm going to go him top passing yards for the season at 20-1.
I like that.
That's how I'll play him.
I bet that over total points for the Bears. So I like that. Those correlate pretty well. The other ones I wrote down, okay. If you're a Minnesota person, Kyler's a fun long shot, but I don't think you can bet him at 40-1. I think you need a longer number than that. You don't know if this guy can stay healthy. The only one who stuck out to me on MVP for right now, considering we're pretty positive this guy's going into the season healthy, Bo Nix, 35-1. I'm not sitting here saying Bo Nix is the greatest quarterback on the planet, but you know how good that defense is. That team is expected to do very well this season. You have a quarterback. If you're the starting quarterback for the 1 seed in the AFC, that goes a long way to possibly winning this award.
I'd still go. I don't know. I can't get behind it. I hear what you're saying, but I can't. I couldn't pull the trigger on it.
I'd still bet Burrow today if I had to.
Yeah, Burrow.
Just bringing up names.
Burrow's the play. And like I said, I'll play Caleb, and I'll get this bet in here. I'll play Caleb differently. Like all his overs, top passer in terms of yardage for the season, that's how I'd play it. Offensive player of the year. Again, the repository for the best player who isn't a quarterback, according to some of the voters. Jahmyr Gibbs plus 550, Bydlon 9-1. Jamar Chase leads the double digits at 10-1. You got Jamar, Puka, and Justin Jefferson, the three best wide receivers in the National Football League by consensus, right after Jahmyr Gibbs and Bydlon. And then it's the CMCs and JSNs of the world. So, I don't know. Here is our buddy Cleve loves a Nico Collins play at 35-1.
If you're high on the Texans, I think that makes sense. I bet A.J. Brown at a much longer number than this, but 60-1, 35-1. If it was, I know there's 40 still out there. I think A.J. Brown's interesting as the alpha go-to wide receiver on an offense with a big arm quarterback. It's going to be airing it out, but
this is just tough to go against Gibbs or Bydlon.
It's the top of the board, man.
Yeah,
yes.
because the Lions are just open and saying he's going to be the bell cow every which way. I mean, now that David Montgomery is out of the picture, and Bydlon is Bydlon. This is tough to overcome these two guys.
You know what makes this really tough, Gil? Is we could remove those two names and we could be saying something similar. I would still be sitting here saying, well, Chase, Puka, Justin Jefferson, McCaffrey, that's a tough group to get by at the top.
Correct.
But then you're adding two guys on top of them.
You are correct. There's a couple tiers of that here. I
would
agree.
Is. It's tough. You're either betting top of the board or you're looking long shot, in my opinion.
Yeah. Maybe we'll look at some more of these a little later on. Wes Reynolds, though, will join us next. Talk golf with him. Anything else he's betting on? Oh, he's betting. Wes Reynolds next on a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. You're here because you want an edge. That's what separates listeners from winners. But let's be real, mindset alone doesn't get bets home. Pros win because they've got the tools, the data, and the discipline. And now so can you. VSiN Pro gives you access to the same real-time insights the sharps use. No secrets, no fluff, just actionable info that moves markets. Tap the link and see why serious bettors are turning knowledge into profit with VSiN Pro.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
College football season almost here, and I do mean almost. Betting it blind is a losing strategy. Get the VSiN College Football Betting Guide. Free with VSiN Pro. Has previews of all 138 FBS teams, our preseason top 50, power ratings, proven betting systems, and best bets from VSiN's sharpest minds. That's not all. VSiN Pro also gets you the NFL Betting Guide, the Fantasy Life Fantasy Football Guide, daily best bets, real-time betting splits, AI-powered prop projections, and 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app. Try it today for just $9.99 or lock in a full year. Save 50% with a VSiN Pro annual subscription. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Guess what, Kelly? We get tweets. Beating the book. Oh, speaking of college football, by the way, I was talking about Jay Cohen coming on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Bob will come on this year, but he will only do pro football with us because he's not doing college football anymore. So who are we having on for college football this year? We're doing the old right angle sports releases.
Go.
Live releases of plays exclusively on a numbers game.
Thursdays or Fridays? Have we settled that?
It's so funny you say that because I was thinking the whole time Fridays because that's when Bob used to do it. But then I'm like, is that the right day to do it? We got to
leave it up to them.
Yeah, leave it up to them.
That's
the whole put it in your bet slip and then they say go or cancel. The whole thing that Fezzik loves doing.
Yeah.
Go or cancel.
Do you think does Fez remember that was from them?
Yes. He just enjoys it so much like he's a 7-year-old kid.
No, I know, but he's been enjoying it so much. Recently, I've been thinking, I think he's forgotten that.
Let me put it this way: if anybody were to forget and then decide that it was their own, he's your guy.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hey, Florida State plays football this weekend, baby. Let's go.
Man.
What do we got? 31-point favorites over New Mexico State. I'm learning this for the first time.
And Tim Murray and Matt Humans were just going to send them to Hawaii no matter the rivalry game or no matter the big game of the week.
Oh, that's the biggest game of the week, right, Gil?
Michigan, Ohio State, send them to Hawaii.
Why Stanford, man?
Oh, that's big. I had Stanford last year. That was brutal. It's a brutal loss. Jesse Welch on Twitter. Fantastic job, K. Michael Bydlon. Creative way to get Greg Peterson out there. I need to see that one for sure. Y'all are going to kill the kid. Corbin, morning, guys. Great having Kelly back. You guys go together like peanut butter and ladies. I don't know what that means.
All right.
On another note, it's been just over 10 years since I went to Punta Cana for my grad trip in the middle of July. We'll never forget the feeling getting off the plane. Pure gross. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I always say about it in humidity-ridden places, it's oppressive heat and sweat on contact.
It beat me down.
I still prefer that over this oven that we live in out here, but I grew up in it. Bullet Godfrey, have you two gentlemen discussed that field goal video? Has Kenny fully, I think he means Kelly, has Kelly fully recovered from that calf injury? We showed that when Matt was here on Wednesday. We showed the old primetime action field goal video with you getting hurt.
I heard that, Danny. I had to tell Danny the real story.
Oh no, what's the real story from your perspective?
I don't know. We were talking about it over the weekend. Just what I do, I tore something just of being in the shower and looking down behind me, and the whole back of my leg was black from just blood.
Brutal.
That was fun.
Well, we were amazed though at how much weight you lost. We were startled by it.
I told Danny, I was like, I think we shot that just a couple months before I started on the shot. Wow. So that's about as heavy as I'd ever been.
John Balduzzi, I know you're a live music guy. Caught Ed Sheeran in Toronto, night 3. Highly recommend if you haven't seen him. Absolutely, if he's by himself with no band, just laying down chords on a loop and playing and singing over it. Unreal, super talented. My introduction to Ed Sheeran was back when Dr. Bob lived in San Francisco. We were at Starbucks, and he was like, Gil, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. You know that awkward person who makes you listen to music in a public place and you don't really want to listen to it? Ed Sheeran, super talented, though. Bob did that to me. P5 Legends. Gil, my best memory from Nick and Robin Bakai's betting recaps on SportsCenter was Nick's screaming response to frustrated Robin when she asked Nick why he didn't play the under given the deluge of snow in the Pats' 12-0 home win versus the Jets on December 7th, 2003. Unders make me nervous. Nick Bakay, great job on our NFL futures draft the other day. Great dude, great guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Wes Reynolds joins us now, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on Twitter at Wes Reynolds 1. That's the number 1. He comes to us with a old school Indiana logo hat right there. Is that what you said? Is that what that is right there, Wes? Yeah.
It is the block eye that they used to wear in the 1980s. I know it kind of with the tint, because it's a faded red, looks a little bit orange probably on the screen. So I know you were thinking it was the Fighting Illini. It is not the Fighting Illini. It is the defending champion Indiana Hoosiers.
Okay, so walk us through your thinking. So Scotty Scheffler wins last week. He wins it going away. It's his first win since the American Express. He wins it by 8 strokes. And so you go ahead and bet Wyndham Clark in the without Scotty market. Is that how you chose to do it? Makes sense, right?
Yeah, and he was 25-1 in the without. He was about in the mid-30s in the with Scotty. But I figured, hey, look, man, the guy's finally putting it all together at the end of the season. Wouldn't shock us. He won by 8 shots. You know, we had to win the without last week with Siwoo finishing second by a distant 8 strokes. So I was like, well, I don't know if I want to really get in front of Scotty here, because maybe he's out to prove a point and just go ahead and lock player of the year up amongst all the candidates. And Wyndham Clark goes out there and leads pretty much gate to wire. We had a 5-stroke lead on going into Sunday. And then all of a sudden he's tied and makes a couple early bogeys on the front nine. It's like, okay, it just couldn't be easy. We can't just get a no sweater, right? You know, after the up and down year that we've had. But then it comes out after the round, we get a text from our Long Shots colleague, Matt Brown, that Scotty is showing a video at the press conference and a tweet about it from Paul Hodwanek, who writes for PGAtour.com. Scotty talks about he had like hand, foot, and mouth disease or something, and had blisters like on his hands every time he hit a shot. I was like, man, it would be really nice to know that beforehand, you know, before I bet the without Scotty. And and he played terrible on Thursday. Like there was at one point, there were 50 players, by the way, in that BMW field at Bellerive in St. Louis last week. He was dead last at one point on Thursday. Like, when do you ever see that? You never see that. So Scotty never was in contention. Wyndham Clark certainly was. And Wyndham, after leaking a little bit of oil, closed the show. on Sunday and made 3 straight birdies, ends up winning by 3 shots. It looks like a comfortable win, but it was anything but if you were watching the telecast.
Yeah, that'd have been a sweaty final round for you, Wes. I had Goddard up sort of in the mix. God, I love watching him play, man. I really thought he was going to catch up to those guys at one point. The Scotty Scheffler, give him a little bit of credit because I've been at a golf tournament where Rory McIlroy withdrew with a toothache. So, credit to him. But he said probably should have withdrew, Gill. The stubbornness got the best of him. And once he got into it, he said that he had blisters on his feet and in your throat. And his hands were in such pain on Thursday, it hurt every time he hit a golf club.
Yeah, the brief description: hand, foot, and mouth disease, the highly contagious viral illness caused painful blisters on his hands, feet, and throat, making it difficult to grip his clubs. And is there a more disgustingly named disease?
No, not at all.
Than hand, foot, and mouth disease.
This is what we always talk about often with betting golf and tennis. This is not like the NFL or NBA where official injury reports have to be filed. No, you just find this stuff out on a Sunday.
Like you said, Wes.
I actually did have to go to webmd.com to look up to see if this was like actually a real thing. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? But
like you said, information you could have used earlier. Yeah.
Yes.
We hope he gets better. We should probably say that. This week, 30 golfers. I know you usually save your thoughts and your bets for long shots. I'm not asking you to do that. But with such a condensed field here in the final tournament in Atlanta, what are your pretty, I guess, more succinct thoughts than normal early in a week?
Well, and it is the same venue, by the way. It is East Lake Golf Club down there in Atlanta for the Tour Championship. And you're right, just the final 30 in the FedEx Cup points make this thing. And it's usually been class players that win this thing. Just looking down the list here, previous winners. Scotty Scheffler actually has not won here at East Lake, but he's finished second twice and third and fourth the last 2 years. But Rory McIlroy has won here. Xander Schauffele has won here. A lot of great. Colin Morikawa won here in 2024. So, it's usually going to be higher end because there really isn't much movement that you could do in the point standings necessarily here. So it's only going to be one of a couple guys that actually win the FedEx Cup. We got there with Tommy Fleetwood finally getting his first win on American soil last year. But look, I think there's a lot to play for this week. There's actually a lot more intrigue around this event, even without the starting strokes. If you remember, they did 10 under par if you're the points leader, and then if you're 30th, you're even par to start. I didn't like that format. It was confusing, even though it made the FedEx Cup market much easier to bet. But I think this year you've got a lot of intrigue because you do not have a definitive, I think, this guy's going to be the PGA Tour Player of the Year. There's probably about 4 or 5 guys that are candidates for it. Amongst them, Scotty, certainly Wyndham Clark, Cameron Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, Chris Goddard. You may get the winner of this event goes ahead and wins the Player of the Year. So there's actually a little bit more intrigue than there usually is.
Yeah,
that part's really cool. I mean, it would have been Scotty Scheffler probably for me, Wes, before last week. I don't really know how you can argue with Wyndham Clark right now. I mean, he has 3 wins and one of them is a major. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. This is coming down to the final week.
Scheffler plus 320 to win, Rory plus 850, and then Ludwig Ober at 14 to 1, leading the rest of the way. Wes has some bets, including, you ready for this? Wes Reynolds has a soccer play.
Let's go.
We got soccer action coming up here. He's got it next on A Numbers Game. VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A Numbers Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
From game-used apparel to autographs and trading cards from your favorite University of Hawaii student-athletes, Rainbow Authentics has you covered. Plus, they have custom gear so you look your best every game day. Capture the moment, own a piece of history, support Hawaii athletics, rooted in community and built on excellence. Rainbow Authentics empowers student-athletes and coaches, gives back locally, and proudly celebrates its island roots. Shop now at rainbowauthentics.com and bring home a real piece of the action. How about that, Kelly? You got any apparel?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Good on them.
We will have Tim and Matt out there on Wednesday, I believe I saw in Bill's email this morning.
I believe that is correct. Yes.
Yeah. So Wednesday night, live from Hawaii. A tradition, unlike any other.
I was going to say, tradition, unlike any other. Wes Reynolds joins us now, kind enough to join us for a second segment, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Again, Wes Reynolds won the number one at the end of Wes Reynolds. Wes, I went to break by saying you have a soccer pick, the rare Wes Reynolds soccer play. What do you have today?
I do, but you were mentioning Rainbow Authentics. I hope that they sell like the old Kelly Green Hawaii jerseys. That was my favorite Hawaii look. The Hawaii Rainbows, as they were known when we were young lads, where they had the white helmets and the white pants, Kelly Green jerseys. So that retro apparel, that'd be a good place to go get it. But going to the pitch over there at Craven Cottage in England, we have Chelsea and Fulham to wrap up EPL fixture week 1. And I'm going to go with Chelsea on the three-way line. Very small favorite, somewhere minus 105 to minus 110-ish is what I've seen out there in the market. Xabi Alonso, the legendary player, takes over as manager for Chelsea. So Fulham was like kind of a upper-level mid-table team last year, so it'll be a tough match. It's on the road after all. But I like Chelsea here to get a win to start the Xabi Alonso era on the right track here. Chelsea fell off at least a little bit. Certainly hadn't been as precipitous as Tottenham's, where they were like a near bottom team last year, and they looked it on Saturday, by the way, against up against Brentford. But I'm going to go. I'm going to follow the EPL a little bit more this year. Like, I kind of got in and out of soccer over the last few years, but the World Cup happened over the summer. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick maybe one or two leagues to follow because you can't possibly follow all of them. Like, if you go to any one of your odds screens, if you go to like Odds Logic or Don Best or whatever screen you use, and there's like 20 different leagues, it's like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming. Like, you can't possibly do that. So I'm going to follow the Premiership, dabbled a little bit this weekend just to kind of scratch the itch. So we'll go Chelsea to get a win in the Alonso era to start it out 1-0.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that because I don't remember associating you with the Premier League or soccer in general, but you just sort of explained it. This is a step up for you, and you're paying.
I have bet it in years past, and then I kind of got out of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens. Like I know a lot of bettors, as do you guys, that get out of baseball a little bit. Like I'm not really following baseball, or I don't have time for it, or it's such a grind throughout the spring and the summer, and then they get back into it. So that's kind of what I'm doing here.
Yeah, I remember Wes hopping in and out over the years.
I can relate to the baseball thing, man. I mean, there were summers where I spent an inordinate amount of time just in front of a screen watching baseball and betting baseball. And I remember even thinking at that time, this is not a proper way to spend my life. This is not a proper way to spend your time on earth. And so I don't miss that. But and you do. You shift into you handle baseball differently. As we have on this show with the
not everybody can be Mark Borchard and grind that 24/7 365. It's amazing. I'm like, how do you do it? Because I like baseball too, but it's like it even gets too much for me. I'm like, oh my God. You got to follow all the transactions and all of that.
Yeah. Though speaking of which, you do have one baseball play for us today.
I do. And you know what? Let's enthusiastically back a team that lost 19-2. Yesterday, that being the Seattle Mariners, as they got absolutely bombed by the Cubs out there at T-Mobile Park. But I'm going to go with them today because you're getting a team now that's arguably the hottest team in baseball, right? The Philadelphia Phillies, they've won 9 in a row. They were down 4-0. It cost me a wager, actually, yesterday. You got to talk about the losers, too. Had the under in Philly and St. Louis, 4-0. Riley O'Brien gives off a leadoff double, then gets 2 outs. And then 6 runs later, blows the save. Riley O'Brien's been terrific for the Cards this year. And the Phillies get a win, continue that streak. Now you got to go all the way across the country with no rest. It's Zach Wheeler on the mound. Zach Wheeler usually is steady Eddie, too. Always gives you 6 innings. But Zach Wheeler has been a little iffy if you look at the numbers in his last few starts. He's really been getting in jams. It's been difficulty for him to get 18 outs. Usually it's like easy. It's just an average night's work. But he's going out there facing Logan Gilbert with Seattle. Seattle, by the way, did not really use a ton, even though they used 4 relievers. They used their back-end relievers yesterday because they didn't change the game. And Dan Wilson actually did something smart, which is sometimes rare when how he manages his pitching staff. But he used his back-end relievers yesterday as they were getting bombed by the Cubs. So relatively fresh bullpen considering you don't have a day off. So I'm going with the Seattle Mariners. I think as high as like plus 108. I think they end the Phillies streak tonight at 9 wins.
The AL West, I mentioned earlier, every team in the AL West has a losing record. Every team in the AL West has a negative run differential. The Seattle Mariners run differential on the season is minus 61. Trivia question for both of you. Do you know what the run differential is in the month of August? Season-long run differential, minus 61. August run differential?
Minus 92.
Minus 62.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah.
They've been a big over team, too, this month, surprisingly enough, because that's kind of a pitcher-friendly ballpark they play in up at T-Mobile Park, and that surprised me. I was kind of scrolling down that this morning. I think it was John Ewing at BetMGM that keeps track of that they've been like a major over team this month, which really surprised me.
All right, I'm going to ask you a couple football questions, both college and pro here. Same sort of question, and I'll ask it this way. In both college and pro, let's start with college. What is the team, what do you think is the most outlying team that gets the furthest in the college football playoff this year? And I'll ask the same thing for the NFL. What is the NFL team that is not among the usual suspects that you think that gets the furthest in the NFL playoffs, either AFC or NFC?
That's a good question. I'll start with college. And this is sure to go awry because it was just like last year when they had a ton of expectations. They were like third or fourth in the country in the polls, and they end up firing their coach mid-season. I want to say Penn State. I think that they're going to be the team that gets that fourth Big Ten spot because we look at the Big Three. It sounds absurd to say the Big Three is Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana, and not Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State like it had been for about 2.5 decades. But I think Penn State gets that fourth spot. I like what they have. I like the fact that they bring in Matt Campbell from Iowa State, who wasn't the first choice, but may end up being the best choice. 24 transfers come in from Iowa State. So it's like the James Madison and Kurt Signetti pipeline to Indiana kind of on steroids, right? So they're bringing a team that, by the way, the core of that team that they bring in won 11 games 2 years ago and made the Big 12 title game. So Penn State is a team maybe I think that not only gets in kind of at the back end, but could win that first weekend. But I think ultimately, I don't think you're going to get like some Cinderella. It's going to be, Notre Dame, Oregon, Indiana, Georgia. It's going to be, I think, those that are going the deepest. But I do think Penn State maybe can win a game getting to the playoff. And then in the NFL, NFL is hard because the team that I picked for the Super Bowl was the Houston Texans, and now they have like nobody at receiver. Now they're trying to search the waiver wire just to get some bodies out there for C.J. Stroud to throw to. So I'm going to say, and that is a very hard
I'll give you another
because,
second, Wes, because you bring up Houston. All of a sudden, to me, Gil, they've become the buzziest team of the offseason.
Oh, for sure.
Wes is right about the wide receiver situation, but the amount of people that I respect, too, it's not just the amount of people in general, the amount of people that I respect that I've heard say the Houston Texans, division, AFC, Super Bowl, it's become a little mind-blowing.
They are definitely, at least in terms of anecdotally on this show, the Texans have gotten more love than I think any other team this offseason. Let us mark that down.
Mm-hmm. For the NFC, I guess I'll say the 49ers because they're not the favorite, right? They're not the favorite in the West this year. Of course, they're Seattle returning from winning the Super Bowl. The Rams, everybody loves the Rams, and for good reason. So I don't want to say the 49ers are a total off-the-radar team. Like they're still less than 20-1 to win the Super Bowl. But I like this team. If they stay injury-free, and we've seen it, guys, the years that they lose a lot of games to injuries, it's a lost season. And then they're healthy. It seems like it's every other year, right? With Kyle Shanahan's bunch, every other year they're healthy. And when they're healthy, they're still one of the better teams in the league. And George Kittle got removed from the PUP list yesterday, so he's back. So that certainly helps Brock Purdy and their fortunes. I like the 49ers this year. I think that they kind of have lower expectations and might sneak up on some of these elite teams.
I like both of those answers. Because they're not outlandish and they qualify. Judges accept both because neither is considered to be top tier. Penn State nor the Niners, though Niners fans will disagree with that. But yes, a notch below the Seahawks and the Rams consensus-wise. By the way, you brought up Michigan at one point. This has nothing to do with football here, Wes. But did you hear? First semester freshman pass fail, no longer grades. What do you think about that?
Got to keep the players eligible, I guess.
Whole student body.
I don't think I would have made it through the first year at Florida State.
Oh, no. That would have been ugly. Thank you, Wes. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The great Wes Reynolds. Pardon me. Right here on A Numbers Game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on Un Partido de Números. See, for the Spanish-speaking folks out there. It's Gill Alexander, Kelly Bydlon, numbers game. For those of you who speak the King's English. By the way, of course, Wes wasn't referring to every Texans receiver. Nico Collins is okay. He was mainly referring to Jaden Higgins.
Yeah.
Season-ending injury, which came down last week.
That was another one where Nico, they had to I don't think they wanted to hold him out of that game. They kind of had to because of the struggling health of their wide receiver room.
Which we just talked about with Jadarian Price with the Seahawks and the running back room. I love the room. The
rooms.
Before we get to basketball, do you want to look at some more of these NFL awards real quick?
For sure. Oh, yeah, I do. I also want to bring up the most shocking sports result from the weekend that we haven't talked about yet.
Oh.
You know where I'm going with this?
I do not.
Okay, we were on a text message at the end of last week where, like Will Hill's Rutgers Big Ten Conference Tournament call,
yes.
I got talked into a bet in roughly 17 seconds. Do you know what I'm talking about yet?
I do not.
Paul Carr texted over his plays, and I know he went over this on Friday, so I didn't get to hear him talk about this.
Yeah.
But one of his plays, I was like, you're telling me there's the team that is so bad that I'm going to bet them at plus 120 to finish DFL dead last for the whole season? Whole city goes out and beats Man United 2-0 on Saturday.
2-0.
Crazy.
He did hit his other two plays, I believe.
I'm sure he did. I was dying laughing Saturday afternoon. I'm like, I've never heard of this team. I've never heard of this city. Any players on it?
Tidy 2-0 win.
Yeah. Welcome to the Premier League, whole city.
Tony Farmer do anything this weekend I should know about?
No, nothing too crazy.
Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. This is the usual suspects category. To me, there's a clear bet here. Myles Garrett plus 450, Will Anderson Jr. 7-1, Aiden Hutchinson plus 850, Max Crosby 12-1, and to me the bet is Nick Bonito 14-1.
Don't hate it.
Dude is just like let's stop with him not being as big a name as those other guys. He is just that good. To me, that's the play. 14-1 Nick Bonito. In fact, I may make that play here today.
Man, remember
I got to do the Kelly Bydlon bets I need to make list.
There you start making a list, Gil. You're going to forget these. Are going to get away from you. These numbers are going to get worse. I do think, you know what? You said usual suspects. I think the list is a little shorter this year, though.
It is because Nick Bosa and TJ Watt have drifted a little bit.
Yes, I would agree with both those. Okay, Garrett live, right? Will Anderson live. Aiden Hutchinson live. Like Max Crosby live, but I struggle to get there on 12-1. I would absolutely bet Bonito over him. And then, Bosa, Watt, Burns you could make a case for. I think Bosa, Watt, verse, little bit of reaches. I know Danny bet Trey Hendrickson at like 40-1. I liked that bet at that number. 25-1 feels a little short on him.
I think everybody who mispronounces the word verses by saying verse now should be required to call him Jared Verses.
Jared Verses?
Yes.
I'll do that for you this year.
Okay.
Jared Verses. Daniil Hunter being this long, considering how many sacks he finished with a year ago.
Well,
I know he plays on the same team as Will Anderson.
You could say that about a lot of these guys. Jalen Carter, Abdul Carter. I get it, but I don't know. I just think Bonito is the
You're going to
guy.
bet this?
I think I am.
Okay.
14-1. With apologies to Patrick Surtain, best defensive player on what is arguably one of the top 3 defenses of the NFL.
I will not have a bet on this heading into the season, but I'll keep playing that same game. If I had to make one bet right now, I actually think I'd be with you on Bonito.
Okay. Any more of these? Yeah, I think there's more. Just
we got a couple.
Heat check on these. Let's go to, what's next? Coach of the Year? What are we doing?
Yeah, I'll do Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year. Who you got?
Coach of the Year.
Free for all, by the way.
At the top.
Yeah.
Harbaugh.
Which?
Makes a lot of sense to me.
Which? John?
Yeah, John.
Okay. John Harbaugh, 6-1.
I thought you were beginning a sentence.
I'm like, which? Yes.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Which makes a lot of sense. John Harbaugh, 6-1. Jesse Minter.
Oh, man.
Jesse Minter, from which John came with the Ravens, 10-1. Robert Saleh, Titans, 10-1. Kellen Moore, 12-1. Saints. Ben Johnson.
Whoa, he's gotten shorter.
Ben Johnson of the Bears, 12-1. Brian Schottenheimer, Cowboys, 15-1. Clint Kubiak, 15-1. And then Todd Monken of the Browns, we gave him a lot of juice this morning, 17-1. Juice because, in case you missed it, Sean Watson named the starter of the Cleveland Browns. So many new.
That Ben Johnson number got shorter, right?
21 new offensive coordinators, but man, there's a lot of new coaches and new places as well, new head coaches. I don't know. I mean, listen, I have too much inside Ravens camp to love John Harbaugh, so I'm not betting him here.
Look, he's the one who would check all the Cleve TA boxes, right? If this team gets turned around and wins 9-10 games, pushes a playoff, he makes a ton of sense. I get it with how the last couple years have gone in Baltimore. I think that bar is pretty high, but I think Jesse Minter's live. I really like Minter, so 10-1. I get him. I don't know. I wouldn't be a bet for me. But he's a guy taking over for a good team that I do actually think is still live. It's just hard. We talk about this every year. It's hard to be on a really good team and expect to make a case for these guys to win. I don't believe enough in the Titans or the Saints to make that big of turnarounds to get on Saul or more.
Nor the Raiders with Clint Kubiak.
Correct. Yeah. And I would be going if I had to make a bet today, Gil. It'd be much further down the list.
Kevin Stefanski, 20-1. Can he give him 3?
Sure. I brought that up a couple weeks ago. Stefanski, O'Connell, or why not a guy who did not win his division last year, who I just said last segment's been getting a whole lot of love that's not even listed on here. D'Amico Ryans, 35-1. I mean, if we're going to have all these guys talk about how good the Texans are going to be.
Except the win total stipulation.
Absolutely, but if they win like the 1 seed.
Yeah. Comeback player of the year, Kelly's favorite. Patrick Mahomes, plus 185. Jaden, plus 450. Kyler Murray, 6-1. Aaron Donald, the fly in the ointment, 9-1. Look at all these guys. Now, Aaron Donald, by comeback player of the year rules, does qualify here, correct?
He does. By our internal rules and also Aaron Schatz's rules, personal rules, he applies.
Red Warner, 25.
I don't really care.
Cool.
So this is, tell me, Aaron Donald 9-1 here.
Yeah.
With who else he's competing with, what he'd have to put up statistically would be very impressive, right? I'm playing a game with you right now.
Yeah.
He would have to have a damn impressive season.
Damn impressive.
What are his odds for defensive player of the year? I mean, if you're all I'm trying to say is if you're going to bet him at 9-1 in this market, you're sprinkling a little on whatever absurd odds you could find on defensive player of the year.
Do we have an official announcement that he's playing yet?
No.
It would be shocking if he wasn't going to play now.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I still stand by. I think you could bet Mahomes, Daniels, Kyler Murray, and Daniel Jones. Bet them all right now. Call it a day, and you're picking up a winner at the end of the year.
Which are the ones? Mahomes?
All 4 quarterbacks: Mahomes, Daniels, Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones. You could bet them all right now. Yeah. See who's healthy at the end of the year. One of those guys is likely winning.
And Mike is out for at least the first 4 games, which is why he's down to 16-1.
So he's another one. We've talked about him with defensive player of the year before. He's like 50-1. 16-1 here. You're not betting either one of those now, right? Why would you bet him now? Because you might as well wait. He's not going to start the season. The price is only going to get longer. But he's another guy. Instead of 16-1 here, I'd rather bet him 50-1 in defensive player of the year. Whenever he comes back, he's going to have to do enough to push the rest of these guys around.
We didn't do offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, we did.
We did offensive
a little
we
bit.
Didn't do
Jadarian
defense.
Price,
Yeah. Is there anything in defense you want to even take a stab at? No.
I always think one of the pass rushers, but it's too early for me to know.
That's the one that I don't know. I mean, some people have convinced themselves that Reuben Bain Jr. is going to be the guy. Plus 450, he's the short shot. But if there was ever a category that I don't think you should play before the season starts, this is probably it.
I think I'm coming around to that side with you, man. I don't really know the next time I'm going to have a defensive rookie of the year bet before the season.
Burned much in the past? Is that what I'm getting from you? No,
not really. I think it's
vague.
It's too vague.
It's too vague.
I would only entertain a pass rusher. And these days, there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, guys in the secondary rarely win.
Well, and I know Danny hit last year, but I'm not taking a middle linebacker. You know, that's not something I'm going to be looking for very often.
NBA trades: Clay to Miami, Peyton Watson to Cleveland. Either of those move the needle for you?
They're interesting. Absolutely. I mean, I don't think any shocker for Clay being added to Miami. They need to continue to add shooting. Peyton Watson, I mean, the bigger story there to me is just Denver botching that, just not being able to keep him, not willing to spend the money to make this work, and in my opinion, basically waving the white flag on the Nikola Jokic era. Like that's really what it feels. That's what the past year has felt like for Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. Is they have seen their window come and go. It has been closed.
Wow.
So I'm interested to see what happens down the line with him. I think on the East right now, though, the other one that's not official is this guy named Kawhi Leonard to the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the most interesting one to keep your eye out for right now and see if any of these books begin to drift. I don't think they will. But
Has Pablo Torre single-handedly kept that from happening thus far? They have a hand in it at all?
Yeah, sure. The NBA's got their own problems to figure out.
Adam Burke and more next.